BobbyFi, Eric Sheets, Haber. We're going to be talking through this NBA 9-game slate, 9 games on both sites. We get the same number of games. I am playing on both sites tonight because there's some fun tournaments out there. I love those 222s. That always seems to be my lucky ones. I'm a little tilted last night. Went from having a chance to win the alley-oop. We'll talk about Sheets is winning every hockey slate again in a minute, but I had a chance to win the alley-oop with a nice hand build that I was adjusting as things went on, and even got the overtime, which ended up hurting me, not helping me. I was fourth going into the overtime, and I had the 3 players in the game. They didn't play Naz Reid in the overtime, and then just not enough from Sadiq Bey and Trey Murphy. But I was in second place when the games were over, and then immediately I jumped to third, which I kind of saw that one coming, and then later, an hour and a half later.
Why did you see that one coming? Did you notice there was something that was added?
I thought there was an extra rebound being given to Sadiq Bey. That looked very much like it wasn't his. It could have gone either way, but I didn't think it was his rebound. So that was one of them. But it ended up dropping 7 points. So they ended up taking away a couple steals and another 3-pointer. It turned into a 2 in another game that had ended 5 hours ago. So it was frustrating. Ended up 6th, and it's the difference between 20K and 3K is a little frustrating, but still a profitable night. And Sheets, you took down the big hockey one again last night. Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, I won actually a different one. I took that with a single entry for like 10,000, which never pays 10,000.
Sick.
And yeah, a nice. And usually, like hockey's like for me is an anti-sweat. Like I'm in the lead and I hold everybody off. This time I actually got there at the end, which is that's always like that's always unexpected. So and I was actually watching it, so I got there. I actually had a shorthanded goal, which is very rare. And yeah, NBA actually did okay in the fadeaway. I had something that was competing for like top 5 or 10 for whatever, but I didn't do that well. I didn't do well at all in the bigger buy-in. So I'm looking to turn that around. We got now. You wanted to do. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be around, but I think you're going to do an NFL preview tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm going to try and do it. I think I'm going to do it tomorrow. At the latest, I'll do it Friday, but I'll definitely do a first look.
Okay, good.
And I would even maybe get Brandon or Rhodey if I can get them to do it.
Yeah, I legit have stuff from like 11 right through to like the end of tomorrow.
Totally get it. Anyway, so any sort of overall thoughts you got on this one that before we jump into?
Well, the first thing I looked at, I'm going to do my first set of building right now. Actually, I just looked at the projections for the first time, and I see like no value, like at all.
Yeah,
like on the slate, which usually means that it's tough to get to the big studs. Because I was wondering why, like some of these guys were like 2% projected ownership or whatever it is, or 5%, and I was wondering why that was. And then as I run the whatchamacallit, the projections for the first time, I realized why that is. It's very hard to get them in.
Yeah, it is. Okay, so I agree. I don't think it's necessarily going to stay that way. So
what do we got? What's in the offing?
I'll just say some of these guys. We don't need everybody to correct us and say that, oh no, they're okay. These are the official questionables. There's the probables. The probable list is long. Jokic, Giannis. Giannis is shocking me because I don't know if you're aware, Sheets. You probably are, about him deleting everything in his history of his social media.
What?
From the Bucks, going back to the last thing he left up was a picture of Kobe after Kobe had passed. And there's a lot of rumors about the Lakers trading for Giannis, and that might actually be a thing that could happen. I don't know if the Lakers are the team that actually has enough to offer to get him, but there's a lot of rumors that he's just done with them.
I heard something that the Knicks were going to give up Cat and somebody for Giannis.
I've heard those rumors. I heard one of the worst takes I've ever heard in my life, where somebody was saying that the Lakers should first of all, trading LeBron for anything. I don't think anybody will take LeBron for anything. I literally don't think you'd get you could probably get a 7th or 8th man at best, and maybe not even that. But there was somebody saying,
you know what you get? You get sold out arenas during his farewell tour. You know what I mean?
That's what you get. Yeah, exactly. And that's going to be next year. So, yeah. But really, I don't think he's doing a whole lot for the Lakers. He'll have some good games and look whatever, but he's looked, I thought, pretty terrible. He doesn't play defense. He doesn't take it seriously. He hates that Luka's the man. Anyway, I'll jump back into the laundry list of questionables, and some of them extremely relevant, some of them not as relevant. Jalen Smith, Daniel Gafford, Chris Murray, Jordan Miller, Bobby Portis, Gary Harris, Pell Larson, Donovan Clingan, Kevin McCullough, Trey Jones, Denny Avdia, PJ Washington, Jamal Murray, Pete Nance, Dalen Terry, Dennis Schroeder, Kevin Porter Jr., Duncan Robinson, Michael Porter Jr., Steven Adams, and Igor Demon.
That's it?
That's it. So I don't buy that value is not going to be we're not going to get value on the slate. So what my thinking is for these, at least these 7 o'clock games, is to really not to use the value from those games. And also I feel very comfortable taking shots with the spend ups in those games, like Jokic, who will have no ownership because of the lack of value. And I'll just gamble it and put other, the other 3K guys that may not even do anything in my lineups if I just am going to be lower on the early games, because I think, and we'll probably have some of this news before lock, so maybe it's moot, but I do think that a lot of those situations are going to open up a ton of value that is not currently listed as being the case. So
now,
that's
are those games that you mentioned are a good amount of the impactful ones later games?
Well, Jamal Murray's in the first game, so that could be a good piece. So that would allow me, I could use some value. And the Portland one on a back-to-back going into Cleveland with a giant spread, even though we knew it would be a spread, it seems a little higher than it would be. So I'm going to guess that one of Avdia, Clingan, Chris Murray sit. If 2 of them do, that's interesting. If one of them, I don't even know what to do with it yet. But Caleb Love, by the time 7 Eastern time rolls around, might look like a near, not a lock play, but like an awesome play. I'm just not buying that they're going to play all these guys in the back-to-back, and they already are. They're already sitting Robert Williams on the back-to-back. They're already also missing Drew Holiday, obviously, Damian Lillard, Thibault, all that stuff. So yeah, a lot of this stuff is on the later games, and my strategy on this slate is going to be feeling totally comfortable to pay up in the early games on anybody that I want, which Jokic would be the best example of that. And then also feeling comfortable that value is going to open up. So trying to stay minimally interested in the 5K-ish guys in the 7 o'clock Eastern games, because I do think we're going to find out some of this news late. That's my guess.
Now, again, this is going to be again, you don't know the answer to this, but of the, obviously you read off like all the guys with the Q tags. Like, how many of those are like been talked about as like actually like might not play?
I don't trust anybody when it comes to this stuff anymore, because I think it's just guessing. I really do think it's guesswork. Like we just got to right now. Jamal Murray is officially a game time decision now. So I don't know. You know what I mean? We don't know what to do with that. Right. So I don't know. It's not. But I would guess like the Portland guys on the back-to-back on the road, after really struggling, that they're probably on the cusp of like starting to look at the season as maybe a throwaway. Sadly. They could maybe still make a play and push if they get those guys back, but you get Lillard and Holiday back next year, and you got Avdia who's a superstar. I just have a feeling they might sit somebody, at least one of these guys. I also think that in terms of highest relevancy, it's kind of hard to say because there's multiple guys on so many teams that are questionable. So I don't know what to do with that. Trey Jones is another one. The Bulls already look pretty good, so bumping up everybody on the Bulls. And then if Trey Jones is in, they're already decent plays anyway, and you're going to have other guys to switch over to. That's another thing I'm going to do. So I'm going to treat this slate a little bit differently than I've treated some of the other ones, and really focus on the fact that I think there's going to be like a ton of late news, and I think we'll also probably have a lot of news between now and game time.
That's the good thing. I mean, like the Jamal Murray thing, that'll be early.
Portland will be early.
Portland will be early. Who are late ones? You said Chicago guys could be a little later.
Chicago's going to be later, yeah. And it's interesting because I'm looking at it's not that there's anything wrong with the Jokic projection, and by the way, but I just think when you see Jokic at 1% ownership, that's, first of all, it's not going to be the case because there's going to be some news. But if we're not going to play the game of guessing that there's going to be value later on, I really think we should be. I really, really do. If I had played one lineup tonight, my first thing I'd do is put Jokic in, and then I would count on value happening if the slate was locking right now. Now, obviously, we have some time to figure that stuff out, but I just think that it makes so much sense. So I'm just not as interested in the early values as much. With that said, right now, because of the lack of value, I'm getting just an absurd amount of Nicholas Claxton on DraftKings. Are you finding the same thing?
I'm sure. Well, I'm building it right now for the first time. That's exactly what I was expect to see.
Yeah, I mean Nick Claxton, I've got a ton of. I've got a ton of Kamara. I mean, I've got 40% of Igor Demon, who is, I think, a very legit questionable tonight, which means we play Tyrese Martin or one of those other guys. And K9 in the chat over here saying that thanks for the takes. He smashed. Really happy to hear it, K9. Nice job. Wish I could have got the big one too, and we all could have won. But everybody seemed like they had a pretty good night. Happy to, or most people had a pretty good night. And then Sheets, of course, wins the hockey thing. Anyway, I digress. But I also wouldn't be surprised if we saw some different starting lineups tonight. Indiana's really been struggling. A lot of these teams have really been struggling. You know, there's a lot of games on this slate. I wouldn't be shocked if you saw some lineup shakeups as far, you know, and we also have 5 teams on back-to-backs, I believe, or is it 4? 5? Well, no, it's 4, I think. So
is Brandon Miller back or
no?
Okay,
he's out. And that's another one that I'm gonna expose myself to a little bit at my own peril, whatever. I do think LaMelo's ceiling is higher, or LaMelo has a chance to be old LaMelo or more of old LaMelo. Now, he still only played 29 minutes in the last game against Brooklyn, and his usage actually for the first time was below 20. I mean, below 20. First time he's below 29% usage rate in the last, basically like all season. I'm not worried about it. I want to take shots on guys like that tonight. I feel like without Trey Mann and without Brandon Miller, maybe we could squeeze an extra couple minutes out of him. And if you tell me LaMelo is playing 27 minutes, yeah, it's hard to get excited. If you tell me he's playing 31, I think he's going to get 50 way more often than he's not here. Also, in the Garden, something to be said for sometimes those guys getting we sometimes see those Garden outlier games. But I mean, he's not like a priority. I just think, like, again, another guy you're going to get at like 5% ownership that you could easily, tell yourself a story that I think makes a lot of sense. And that's what I'm doing. So right now, again, Claxton, Kamara, I've got tons of Drake Powell from Brooklyn.
What about Anthony Davis?
I love Anthony Davis. That's another one of the plays. I'm actually surprised his projection is not a little bit higher.
Maybe I have him higher because I'm getting a decent amount of him.
I've got him 30%.
Oh, well, okay, that's a lot for me.
But but he's 80. I mean, 8,800. You'd think we'd be like locking him in. Like that's about as little as you see. And it's not like he's not going to play minutes. I mean, he's still awesome, by the way. They are, and for what it's worth, they are at home against a team that plays really fast. It's not a great individual matchup. It's pretty bad going up against Bam, but he had a bad game in his first game back against the Lakers, and then he just crushed against Denver the other night. He put up 62. Love the Anthony Davis play at 8,800. He's 10-2 on FanDuel, which means literally nobody will play him. So me, I'll probably be stubborn and make sure I at least have a little bit of him. But yeah, I really like Anthony Davis. Some other names that are going to be heavily involved in my lineups on both sites. Right now, it's lower on Okongwu than I think it should be, but I'm going to make sure to prioritize a lot of Okongwu. I like Jalen Suggs. I like Franz Wagner. I like the whole Orlando team, to be honest with you. And nobody else does, so that's nice. Franz Wagner is more of a play on FanDuel than he is on DraftKings. All the Brooklyn situation, we have to wait for Demon. I mean, we've got Demon, Michael Porter Jr. both questionable for a team that has like no creators, and that's their point guard and their only like shot creator. So you're going to be so heavy on Brooklyn by the end of the day, is my guess. The other one that stood out was those were my favorite things to watch out for. The Brooklyn, the Orlandos. I think LaMelo's a great pivot. I think that Jokic is an excellent play, whether Murray plays or not. And AD, as you mentioned, Suggs and Wagner. Those are my main one. But yeah, I'd be very surprised if I end up with anything. I think AD is a really good play tonight. And even if he's not as good a play, I'll at least be able to make decisions later on. Also, Miami, we already got this earlier. Norman Powell's out, which is making Jaime Jaquez a good play. If Pelle Larsson goes out as well, it strengthens Davion Mitchell. It strengthens Wiggins, Jaquez, to some extent, Hero and Bam. Pretty much everybody who played, even Drew Smith at 3,400 is a guy who I'm going to reserve. He's one of those guys I'm using to reserve for my later I'm going to make sure I'll put a 10%er on Drew Smith. I may end up with 0% of Drew Smith.
Right.
But I'm going to make sure I save the spot in case it happens. And if not, I'll have somebody else to pivot over to, I promise. It's just the way the slate's going to go. But yeah, I would like to try and get less involved with the early games outside of the spend ups. Are you getting much in the early games? Have you gotten into your thing yet?
Yeah, I mean, I said I was getting Kamara and Claxton, like you said, and AD. Those are my main.
Nice. Claxton's actually in the later game, so that's good.
Oh, okay, good.
I'm so used to them being at 7 either, almost always at 7 Eastern. It feels like. But yeah, I think that Brooklyn thing is going to. Also, you're playing a Bulls team that's defense has been lousy, and they play pretty fast. So it's that Brooklyn situation. If they can keep that game close, that might be some sort of a game stack situation because we've already got Bulls missing, and we might have another one in Trey Jones. So I really think for the first series of things, unless we get a bunch of news, I am probably going to be overloading everybody in that Bulls Nets game just because we have so many, there's 7 significant questionable tags.
What's his name playing tomorrow? You hear about is St. Brown playing tomorrow, you think?
I don't, as of right now, I thought he was going to, and the projections don't. Okay. I don't know. I'm trying to figure that one out. I'll try to figure that one out tomorrow, I guess. But I was surprised that if he doesn't, well, it's such a big game. I feel like that's why I'm surprised. But if he's out there, I don't know what we're getting from him because I don't know that he's going to be. I think they'd throw him out there if he wasn't fully there, just to try and have competent bodies and a distraction, if nothing else.
Right.
Because that's pretty grim for them. But yeah, it's gonna be a wild slate tomorrow. I'm kind of looking forward to it too because I think there's a lot of ways to go. Other guys, one that I'm sort of struggling a decision with in the early part of that's on the early slate is what to do with Darius Garland. The projections like him. I'm up in the air on this. I think it's a good play. I don't think it's like a must play or so. I don't know. I probably end up just near the field on it. But I don't feel like this is I don't know. I feel like we're making some assumptions I guess he's played 32 and 31 minutes the last 2 games. That's fair enough. I think this game could also blow out. And I think he's one of the first guys who comes off the court if it does. They're 11.5 point favorite. That's a pretty big number. And it might get even worse if we do in fact lose, the best player in the NBA, Denny Avdia. Every night, doesn't matter what he's got. You look up at the end of the day, he's got 55 or something or plus.
Porter had a big game yesterday.
Which one?
Kevin Porter Jr., didn't he?
Yeah. That's another one that I'm just sure, I'll sort of see if I get any of it. I'm not trying to go and he's questionable, by the way. He may not play. And Bobby Portis may not play, and Gary Harris in that same game. So yeah, it's weird. I also find it with all this narrative, is it a mistake maybe just not to play Giannis? Because I do think the narratives are almost affecting the project, at least on SaberSim. I don't know why he's projected quite as low as he is. I know that they've been sort of be careful with him with the minutes, but they've got him at 30 minutes tonight, and they still got him only at 52. I thought he'd be a little bit higher than that. So he's another one that I think the idea of playing him or Jokic is a pretty good idea if this value does in fact open up, which remains to be seen, obviously.
Yeah, I like these 222s myself, actually.
Nice. I owe State Kings money because I've been winning a little bit lately.
Yeah, me too.
I'm not able to jump in and invest.
I know that's the only downside.
Mm-hmm. Did you see that with that other guy? What happened with the? Did I tell you this one? I put like $100 on that other guy. What was his name? Rob. His name is Dude of Life on DFS wise.
Okay.
Rob Coventry. So he finished tied in a 3-way tie for the second for the millionaire thing, but it was $1 million, then it was 100 on Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
So he ended up only winning whatever it was. No, it was 1,050,000. So he only ended up getting like 14.9, which was, I mean, I made 2,000 off of $100, but if he ties that, they were like a quarter of a point behind.
Oh, wow.
You end up with a chop for 300K or whatever. So that would have been like $50,000 for the $100 thing.
Wow.
That would have been a fun Stake Kings, and some of the other guys got in on it who were a part of our site, which was fun. Anyway, but other things I've noticed a little bit is just that it's not like there's one. Early in the season, it was one type of player. It was the spend up guys that SaberSim was a little bit lower on. And I feel like they've gone out of their way and they have higher projections on some of these mid-tier guys. Like they like Claxton better than most of the sites seem to. Darius Garland is another one they've got significantly higher. But Drake Powell, they've got significantly higher. I just feel like you can't use your projections everything after, but if nothing changes for a team and SaberSim drastically changes something, try to just keep an eye out for it. I would just encourage everybody to, because I've noticed a few things as I've been playing this last week, and just where the numbers don't quite make sense to me. And they've proven to be right from my skepticism.
Wait, hold on a second. Oh, is it the same slate?
What's that?
Oh, that's for Thursday. Luca is ruled out for tomorrow.
Yeah. Oh, interesting.
Personal.
Uh-oh. That's bad. I know he's got a new little kid. Anyway, so right now, again, I'll just go back. My highest exposures are Claxton. I'm not going to end up with 80% of Claxton. I don't think. I might end up with 50, but I don't think 80. Kamara, the Kamara one is annoying, but we might have to do it just because they might not have enough guys. But I know he had a good game yesterday. He's not I love him as a real life player. He's a perfect guy. I would love to have on my team. Great defender, but you're really counting on him. I don't know. He can get some rebounds. He's going to get a couple assists maybe, but he'll get 4 or 5 rebounds. Occasionally he gets those higher rebounds. He's actually been rebounding a little bit better. But I don't know. He made 6 threes yesterday, and he made 5 threes the only other time. Every time he's gone 5x over his number, he's basically made 4 or more threes. And I just don't think we should count on that.
No, definitely not.
On a back-to-back where they are 11.5-point underdogs.
Yeah.
So I would like to be under that. And K9's asking about FanDuel. I'll jump over real quick over there.
I'll tell you what I did on FanDuel. I mean, I'm only playing 3 lineups on FanDuel, playing 3 in that 222 there. Mm-hmm. I have a whole different set of people over there. I have Okongwu, Claxton, Mikal Bridges, Desamnu. Those are 3 guys I have in 2 of the 3 lineups.
All right, let me see real quick.
Trey Jones.
I've got a ton of Okongwu. Yeah, a lot more Okongwu over there. Trey Jones, who may not play.
Right.
Desunmu, Claxton. Harrison Barnes is 4,500. Here's another one. Harrison Barnes.
He was good yesterday.
He was great. But the problem is it's a back-to-back, and he's 700 years old.
Yeah, and I wouldn't do that.
But he's 4,500 on FanDuel, so it's a little more tempting.
Maybe he doesn't play.
That's what I was thinking early in the day. But then he's kind of always been a little bit of a guy who always does his thing. His thing though is usually standing in the corner. But they, Dylan Harper, are they going to play him? I'm surprised he's not questionable because
he's amazing.
Playing him on the back-to-back though, after coming back from an injury as a 20-year-old, I don't know. It's a little bit unusual.
The guy's the freaking truth, man.
I believe that. Who's really the truth is Stefan Castle. That guy is
we like him.
Really good. Like all pro soon. That's the other big rumor team for the what's his name for Giannis is San Antonio. I think it makes a lot of sense actually. All right, let's see. Yeah, I'm getting a lot more Hawkes over on FanDuel. Some things are updating, but I haven't seen official words. But I'm noticing some projection changes here.
No, I don't see anything.
Jalen Smith's projection shot up on FanDuel for some reason from SaberSim, but that might have just been them correcting. Maybe they're looking at he's more likely to play. I don't know.
They're supposed to know who's playing for Portland at this point. You know what I mean? Like just...
This is the what I wish the NBA would institute this. And by the way, they own DraftKings. Like it's not just for this betting too; it's for all sports betting. It really kills the thing, the game. I think it's harder to win at the NBA now than it ever has because the guys who are playing are basically all studs. You know what I mean? You can't have that many casuals playing.
Yeah.
It's just really hard. But yeah, so I think it's sort of a general strategy. Again, I'm going to go back through. I've got some other plays that I like. I mean, look, if he was a little bit cheaper, I think I could talk myself into some Russell Westbrook tonight. On FanDuel, he's 74. That would be the site where you'd use him. Unfortunately, the turnovers. But I just love him whenever he goes back to his former spots, and he always seems to do well in these situations. Anywhere that he played for, and the list is added up. He also, he could just get there anyway. Like he put up 64 against Utah the other day.
Yeah.
He put up 51 in Denver the last time he was there, just to give you an idea of what I was saying. He had 35 against OKC, but that's actually pretty good considering it's OKC's defense, But I like him with these former team matchups, and he put up 54 the game before that against Denver as well, by the way. And he also had his initial breakout game was against the Lakers this year. So I do think that there's like Westbrook's probably too expensive, but I might talk myself into doing a little bit of it on FanDuel, at least in the lottery. Anyway. Okay.
Lonzo is probable. Nothing on Avdia yet.
Yeah. All right. Any questions, guys, or thoughts? Oh, favorite fan to spend up on FanDuel. Sorry, that was what's his name's question. Keenan didn't answer it exactly. Favorite spend up on FanDuel. I do like Jokic and Giannis, but I think Jalen Johnson and Josh Giddey are my highest owned right now, followed by Cat. Those are my highest owned in that order. Knicks on a back-to-back, but they get Charlotte tonight, so it's not a back-to-back I'm as worried about. And those guys, when they play, they just play their minutes pretty much no matter what. And I'm going to do the same stupid thing I did the other night that cost me the 888. Like I don't know what it cost me because I was on the bubble of cashing with a 16 or 17 or whatever it was from Matherin. And Matherin on FanDuel is 6,900, and I think is actually very reasonable. I will take that gamble one more time on Mr. Matherin. But yeah, those are my three spend ups on FanDuel that I like that I have the most of right now is Jalen Johnson, Josh Giddey, and Karl Anthony Towns. But that's because there's no value. If value opens up, and I still probably force in like 5% of Jokic at least, maybe even higher, and Giannis, and just sort of hope I can find the pieces around them. But right now there's no value. My guess is we'll have like 4 guys 7xing by 8 Eastern. Scott, so I'm saying I like Jokic. Nobody's getting to Jokic. I just want to make this clear. Jokic on DraftKings is going to be like his projection is somewhere between 1% and 5%, depending on what site you look at. He's not going to be owned. So I would not be concerned. I am just saying what I'm going to do is go out of my way to make sure to get some of it. Yeah. Cool, Scott. Scott's a good dude.
I'm going to predict that Jamal Murray is out.
I think he is going to be too.
That's going to be my prediction.
I think it's a really good prediction because they're only. I know this sounds like but look, they're 8.5-point favorites. But I wouldn't have been surprised if I saw them as like 13-point favorites tonight. I'm not saying they should be or whatever. I'm just saying I thought it'd be double digits for sure, and it wasn't. And Indiana has just been so bad. Yeah. Anyway, you getting any of the J Huff on DraftKings?
Not now, no.
Okay. For some reason, I'm getting all kinds of them, and I don't
Let me just
exactly
see.
know
Let
why.
me see what I have here. Oh, look at all these questionables I have in my lineups. No, actually, that's not true. I do have, I mean, some of them, not too much, maybe 10%, maybe. Look at all these Qs that I have there. I mean, even Kevin Porter Jr. questionable, and everybody's freaking questionable.
Do you know who I like as a player? Have you seen this? The Nemhard's brother. He's awesome.
I saw that.
He's really good, man. And it's so crazy to me because this guy was like great in college and yet went undrafted, even though his brother is like literally a clone of him. They do the exact same thing. They just run a good offense. They're not going to be the superstars, whatever. But I'm surprised that, I mean, look, he's a starting point guard who was literally a starting point guard who was not drafted. It's pretty wild. But yeah, what a game he had the other night. 12 of 14 from the field is no joke. Anyway, okay. 17% Huffer. So Corey, I just want to make this clear. These are super high risk plays. You're saying you're playing you said before you're playing a medium-ish buy-in. I don't think I would play a medium-ish buy-in small field with Matherin and Jokic. I would certainly consider it in a large field. Absolutely. But I just think you're talking about, Matherin has not exactly been living up to this hype I put around him. Although he's put up some big games here and there. Oddly enough, against OKC, which was the last time we saw him. That's the one team he seems to continually dominate against. The best team in the NBA, maybe the best team in NBA history at this point. Not really, but we'll see. And just a shout out for look, it's a really sad thing. I always liked Eldon Campbell quite a bit. He was with our Lakers for a long time. He went to he had a huge game. It was they dubbed it at the time. See if you can guess what game I'm talking about. They called it the biggest and it was going into it, the biggest regular season game in the history of basketball.
I don't remember.
So it was Magic's second game on his Magic came back, remember, after having AIDS, 4 years later, which by the way, never gets talked about. And the guy was terrific when he came back, even like he played power forward and he was still awesome. But they were playing the Bulls, who were in the midst of their record, they're nearly the record winning streak. And Michael Jordan had just come back the previous year. So it was like a very, it was the most expensive ticket that I can remember having, before recent in the recent whatever. It was like, I think we were sitting in the top row for like $1,000. It was like that kind of a crazy thing, but our family like really wanted to do it. And the Lakers got killed, but Eldon Campbell had like 42 points in that game or something crazy. It was a really, it was just fun, and I liked the guy. Golden State was the game he came back, Dell, but the second game back was the Bulls, and the Bulls were the biggest thing in the world at the time.
Jamal is in.
He's in. You're 0 for 1, Sheets.
Yep.
And Jokic is in, which I guess we were waiting on him. I didn't know.
So here's a quick story. I have to leave in probably about 10 minutes.
Okay.
So this is back, I think, 1989, maybe? In 1989. I was a really big fan of the St. Mary's basketball team for a lot of reasons. And I literally went I went to Vegas with my friend Brian, and I wanted a huge bet on St. Mary's, whoever really they were playing in the first round of the tournament. Mm-hmm. And all I wanted was them to play some like freaking like weak like ACC team or something like that. And they totally were paired against Clemson back in 1989. And I went out there, and there was a delay in my flight, and it got laid over in Minnesota. And I got there. The plane landed in Vegas like almost 5 minutes before game time, and I sprinted through the airport like freaking OJ, right? Got into a car and made it to the casino like 4 minutes after the game started. They actually took my bet after the game started. It gave me St. Mary's -4 instead of 3 against Clemson. I got there, I met up with my friend Brian. It was like 22-4, like St. Mary's before it even got started. And then in the second half, Clemson proceeded to just dismantle them with their two big men, one of them being Eldon Campbell.
Oh, that's crazy.
And the other guy, from that team was Dale Davis.
Oh
Both
my
of them. Yeah. Both
Wait.
big men made it into the NBA, was on that Clemson team.
Oh,
And
that's
then like, and they even like got to, and down the stretch when St. Mary's actually had to foul at the end, both these dudes made like 20 for 20 from the line. It was, I've never seen anything like it in my life. So
that's crazy.
I have, with a heavy heart, I say R.I.P. Eldon Campbell.
Yeah. Oh, that's crazy. That's it's interesting that you said that they had a double big thing because there was they were trying to get that Lakers tried to do that with him and Shaq.
Yeah.
It was not quite the deal.
No.
All right, man. Well, I'm going to probably get out of here, guys. I'm going to update my stuff as much as I possibly can. I'll update now, but then I'll try and do another update later for where I'm at. But I'm still, obviously, we're waiting on a lot of news. So that's what I would say is make sure you're glued to your computer and let's get lucky. Yeah.
So again, we're waiting on this Portland stuff. I only have like another couple of minutes to wait, and then I'll probably do it from my phone wherever I am. But that's going to do it, everybody. We'll watch for the I did an MMA video today for everybody that wants to watch that. Then Bobby's going to do an early look tomorrow, and I will be back. Maybe I won't be from the showdown. Crap. Maybe I'll try to put something. It's just a busy.
Yeah, I'm going to be late for that too. The boat's taking off, and I'm going to set them sort of our thing, saying goodbye. So I'll probably be a little late for the showdown, but I'll let you guys know in the Discord.
At the very worst, I will see you guys Sunday with Bobby for the main slate.
Sounds good, bud.